Is it a cinematic sensation? Is it a masterpiece of animation? Or a terrible train wreck like Jambareeqi check? If a movie needs an exorcism, he'll smite the demon with criticism. If it deserves attention, he'll give it a heartfelt mention. A strawberry rating 1 to 5. Jambareeqi reviews.
Howdy folks, Jambareeqi here, and welcome to this year's Halloween special episode of Jambareeqi Reviews. You know what, ever since I told about the Wallace and Gromit shorts, you maggots have been pestering me to review the Wallace and Gromit movie. Well fine, hold tight onto your carrots as I review The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. In this film, Wallace and Gromit are pest controllers who use inventions to humanely remove rabbits from gardens at a very important time of the year for the village, when the community hold a vegetable growing contest. One such client for their service is the wealthy Lady Tottington, who greatly approves of how Wallace and Gromit treat animals with care. However, a rude, obnoxious hunter by the name of Lord Victor Quatermain insists that these rabbits should be shot, much to Totty's disgust. In a bid to protect the rabbits from his lordship, Wallace uses a special machine to program the critters into hating vegetables, and it seems to be a success. Unfortunately though, there's suddenly reports of a giant rabbit monster munching through residents' garden patches, so it's up to Wallace and Gromit to take care of it, but Gromit discovers the truth. You see, the invention Wallace used to brainwash the rabbits actually switch Wallace's genetic properties with a rabbit's, so when the moon is full, Wallace transforms into a were-rabbit. He was the real monster all along, and when Lord Quatermain uncovers this fact, he vows to shoot Wallace with a golden bullet. Can Gromit protect his beloved owner from the arrogant hunter? The Wallace and Gromit shorts were already very cinematic for what they were, so bringing in the claymation duo to the big screen seemed inevitable, and unsurprisingly, it worked. This movie takes the filmic sensibilities of the shorts and makes them even bigger by expanding the cast and sets to very ambitious lengths. But this is not only a great short to feature film transition, it's also simply a fantastic movie. Its humour is one of its major strengths, relying on the hilarious joke that these vegetables are like innocent children to the townspeople, and the chomping of these veggies are the equivalent of infanticide. It's all very silly, but framing the whole ordeal like a legit scary horror movie is geniusly funny. The victims are carrots, marrows and pumpkins, yet the film is directed with the same terror as The Omen or American Werewolf in London. It's brilliant. The comedy also often depends on puns related to rabbits and vegetables, but these play on words never come off as painfully cheap, because you can tell that the filmmakers are winking at the audience. They know that the puns are corny and are aware that we are responding with laughing groans. The central heart of the film is Wallace and Gromit themselves. These two carry the film. Their friendship is so endearing. There's something lovely about their dynamic, with Wallace being the bumbling talkative buffoon and Gromit acting as the logical silent intellect. They are very much opposites, but they make for a fantastic team, and their friendship engages us into the story. The romance between Wallace and Totty isn't the love story of the century, but there's an innocence to it that's so cute. They have a lot of chemistry as they bond over a mutual compassion for the rabbits. And they're both gentle, kind-hearted people with good manners. It's a sweet pairing, which may not tug on your heartstrings, but will certainly make you go, "Aww." I'm going to give 5 points to the content. Wallace may be a clever inventor, but his wits aren't the sharpest. He's rather slow and often needs hints from Gromit to work things out. However, how naive he is actually makes him really lovable. In spite of his dimness, he always means well and keeps his spirits high. He's polite to everyone he meets and will do his best to make others happy. He's a sweet Yorkshireman with a heart of gold. When he turns into the were-rabbit, we really care about his safety because we are so fond of the nice gentleman underneath that fur, and we would be crushed if the Lord shot him. Gromit may be a dog of no words, but he's still the hero of the story. He's a very talented detective, always working things out before everyone else, even if the clues are very vague. Although, his skills aren't limited to the mind, he's also full of roaring courage and will do anything to protect his Wallace. Gromit also has a running subplot about growing his own marrow for the competition. He's so passionate about this project. But when he knows that it'll make the perfect bait for the were-rabbit, he isn't afraid to sacrifice it. Totty may be a very rich woman, but she's no classist snob. She happily takes part in her local community, even hosting the annual vegetable growing competition herself, knowing how much it means to all the villagers. She also shows empathy for the rabbits, and when she feels like Wallace's animal-friendly techniques have failed her, you can tell that it pains her to resort to Victor's hunting skills to resolve the whole were-rabbit problem, because she's so sensitive about animals. She's a lovely woman who breaks all the cliches of the wealthy lady character. Lord Quatermain is the weakest character in the film to me. The Wallace and Gromit shorts always featured a unique, funny and menacing villain, antagonists that were memorable and fun, but Lord Quatermain is disappointingly rubbish as a bad guy. He's a trigger-happy egocentric who is after recognition and money. Sound familiar? I don't find him funny, he's not intimidating in the slightest, and there's nothing original about him. He really lets the film down in my opinion. The townspeople are a riot, each one has a northern English charm, reminding me of people I've met in Yorkshire myself, and they're all equally funny in their own right. Their passion for vegetable growing is adorable, and they are hilarious when they band together as a mob. Hutch is the rabbit that gains Wallace's genetic attributes and personality. He's so bloody funny. I can't help but laugh at a rabbit with Wallace's mannerisms and a squeaky Yorkshire accent. I love the little guy. I'm going to give 4 points to the characters. As to be expected from Aardman, the stop-motion animation for this film is stellar, top-notch work. There's a bouncy flexibility and rubbery fluidity to all the movement. Patient care is also put into not overdoing the character actions, with extra consideration towards how the characters can express themselves without dialogue. If something can be told through the animation itself, then Aardman will let the characters speak visually. Whether it's the were-rabbit letting Totty know that he's really Wallace, or Gromit realising that the were-rabbit lives in his home. But the animators do translate the voice performances into the stop-motion puppets amazingly well, bringing every vocal delivery to life while retaining the essence of what a character is trying to get across in words. It must have been super difficult to animate the were-rabbit too, because fur is a sensitive fabric when animated, and luckily extra precaution was put into not letting slight touches ruin continuity. I'm going to give 5 points to the animation. Peter Sallis reprises his role as Wallace for this movie, bringing his delightfully tender Yorkshire dialect to the gentle-hearted cheese lover.
Talking of which, now for a great big plate of vegetables. Ha-ha! Still got me on the diet, eh, Gromit? Watching me shape? Ha-ha! There's a good dog.
Sallis also provides the voice of Hutch, which is pretty much his Wallace character on a high-pitched filter, but that's the best way to sell the joke of Hutch.
Oh, I do like a bit of gorgonzola.
Helena Bonham Carter plays Lady Tottington, giving her a posh accent that's easy on the ears, but also very fitting for such a high-class woman.
Anti-Pesto, you're here.
Oh, your ladyship.
My darlings. You're safe.
Ray Fiennes voices Lord Quatermain. I'm sure his character is very bland as a villain, but he does his best with what material he's given.
For you, my love.
Victor, how lovely and unexpected.
Heard you had a spot of rabbit bother and tootle straight on over to sort the little blighters out.
Gosh, that's awfully sweet of you, but you really needn't bother.
It's no bother, little boo-boo. Why's the least a chap can do for his filly?
I'm going to give the voice acting 5 points. Because this movie is paying homage to classic horror films, the score has a field day going all out on creating orchestral pieces that you'd hear in a Universal horror movie. It's this dedicated tribute that coats the comedy in gold, as there's nothing funnier than seeing a silly were-rabbit transformation being backed with bombastic instrumental terror. But there's also music that stays in spirit with the shorts, turning the memorable brass themes of The Wrong Trousers or A Grand Day Out into something worthy of the big screen. It's actually quite moving hearing these recognisable tunes but with a bigger orchestra. It's enough to make the most loyal Wallace and Gromit fan shed a tear. What more can I say? This is a score that pays a lot of respect to its origins and inspirations in a way that not only fits the movie's overall tone, but also sounds bloody fantastic. I'm going to give the music 5 points. To conclude, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit is a hilarious homage to classic horror movies that'll make your side split until you think you're going to die. Sure, its villain lets it down, but it's still a bloody great movie. The Curse of the Were-Rabbit has gained a total of 24 points, which translates to 4 3/4 vegetarian strawberries out of 5. If you enjoyed Aardman's other films like Chicken Run and Early Man, then I'm certain you'll love this movie. I'd just like to point out that the graphics for this video were produced by Toongrin. If you'd like to request commissions from them, here's their website on screen. I've been Jambareeqi and I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, then feel free to subscribe to my channel. Also, consider supporting my channel by making a monthly pledge to my Patreon in return for awesome rewards. Thank you. I'd like to give a shout out to 2 new patrons, Diego Barreno and Kayleigh McRae. You two are as awesome as carrot stew. Thank you. So, what am I going to be reviewing in the next episode of Jambareeqi Reviews? Well, seeing as Disney's Mary Poppins Returns is coming out later this year, I thought I would revisit the original, because, well, I've not seen it since I was a kid. I want to know if it holds up before I go watch the sequel. Cheerio, folks.